This video did not appear by accident. Something in you is finally ready to hear what most people miss. Listen carefully. Why do things begin to move only when you stop forcing them? Imagine standing still while life walks toward you. Buddhism hides manifestation secrets about growth and success mindset. It will happen for you only when you stop chasing how it will happen. When the mind rests, path reveals itself. You feel stuck, wondering why what you think will happen never does. Buddhist teachings say, value yourself, fear nothing, enjoy every movement, and trust that anything you wish will happen through alignment. Before we begin, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, where every video is a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight you won't find anywhere else. Stay for a bonus lesson ahead. 1. Your real life begins where fear ends. Fear rarely announces itself loudly. It speaks in hesitation, in delay, in the quiet decision to stay small even when your heart is ready to expand. If this video found you, pause here. Ask yourself gently, what fear has been ruling your decisions without ever asking your permission? In Buddhist understanding, fear is not an enemy to be defeated. It is the final gate before truth. Most people believe life begins when confidence appears, when courage arrives fully formed. But clarity does not follow courage. Clarity follows surrender. And this is where most turn back. Think of fear like mist at dawn. From a distance, it looks thick, solid, impossible to cross. But the moment you stop running, the moment you stop fighting it, it begins to thin. Fear only feels real when resisted. The door opens when you stop pushing. You may notice this in your own life. The job you never applied for, the truth you never spoke, the version of yourself you keep postponing. Fear did not block you by force. It ruled quietly through avoidance. And suffering grew not because fear existed, but because it was obeyed. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that what we resist persists. What we observe with calm awareness begins to loosen its grip. So instead of asking, how do I remove fear? Ask something softer, more honest. What happens if I stay? Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe into the place where fear lives in your body. Do not argue with it. Do not analyze it. Simply watch. Notice how it shifts, how it changes shape, how it cannot remain solid when met with presence. This is the turning point most never reach. They think strength means overpowering fear, but true strength is allowing fear to dissolve on its own without resistance. This is why your real life begins where fear ends. Not because fear disappears, but because it loses authority. Imagine who you would be without avoidance, without the constant need to protect an old identity, without the stories that keep you trapped in familiar suffering. What remains when fear no longer decides for you? Here is the quiet truth. Life does not test you to punish you. It tests you to reveal readiness. If this moment found you, it is not coincidence. It is timing shaped by your willingness to stop running. Carry this with you today. Do not fight fear. Sit with it, breathe with it, and watch how the mist clears when you finally stand still. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, I trust this timing. 2. Detach like you never got attached. Attachment rarely feels like attachment while you are inside it. It feels like care, responsibility, love, or control, just in case. But beneath it is fear disguised as holding on. If this video found you, ask honestly, what are you gripping so tightly that life cannot move through you? In Buddhist wisdom, attachment is not about wanting. It is about mistrust. When you cling, you are silently telling life, I don't trust you to return what is meant for me. And so life pauses, not as punishment, but as instruction. Things often arrive only after release because the open hand receives. Picture holding sand in your fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more it escapes. Not because the sand is disloyal, but because gripping creates loss. Now imagine your palm open. Nothing is forced, nothing is trapped. Strangely, more remains. This is how relationships strain, careers stagnate, and inner peace dissolves. Not because you cared too little, but because you controlled too much. You tried to freeze what was meant to flow. Attachment promises security, yet delivers anxiety. Detachment feels frightening at first, yet invites movement back into your life. Close your eyes and visualize your desires resting lightly in your hand. Not clenched, not abandoned, simply present. Notice how your body responds when control loosens. Where does tension soften? Where does breath return? Here is the reversal most people never understand. Detachment is not indifference. It is deep trust. It says, what belongs to me will not require force. When you stop chasing outcomes, outcomes begin to align. When you release timelines, life finds its rhythm again. Ask yourself quietly, what are you gripping emotionally right now? A person's validation? A future that hasn't arrived? An identity you've outgrown but fear releasing? What would happen if you loosened control without walking away? This is where real freedom begins. Not by cutting off desire, but by removing desperation from it. You still care, but you no longer beg life to behave. You allow it. Remember this as you move forward today. Detach like you never got attached. Hold life with an open palm, and watch how what once resisted you begins to return. Not because you demanded it, but because you finally trusted enough to let go. 3. Focus only on yourself. Comparison quietly steals more energy than failure ever could. The moment your attention drifts into someone else's life, your own life pauses. If this video found you, reflect carefully. Who are you watching instead of becoming? Because attention is not harmless. It is life's currency, and you spend it whether you are aware or not. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering grows wherever the mind wanders without direction. When you measure yourself against others, your power fragments. Not because you are lacking, but because your awareness is divided. Where you look, you live, and many live everywhere except inside their own breath. Think of a river flowing with force and clarity. When it remains whole, it carves mountains. But when it splits into many channels, it weakens, dries, and loses direction. Your energy works the same way. Every comparison splits your inner river. Every judgment drains momentum from your own path. Modern life encourages this distraction. Endless updates, achievements, and curated images pull your gaze outward. Slowly, you forget your own rhythm. You begin reacting instead of creating. Fear grows, not because you are behind, but because you have abandoned your own center. Here is the quiet truth most never hear. Focus is not selfishness, it is responsibility. When you attend fully to your own growth, you stop leaking power, and clarity returns without force. Bring your attention back to something simple. Your breath entering, your breath leaving. Feel how power gathers the moment awareness comes home. Nothing external changed, yet everything internal stabilized. This is not imagination. This is discipline of the mind. Ask yourself honestly, what grows when you stop looking outward? What part of you has been waiting for full attention? What would strengthen if you stopped monitoring others and started witnessing yourself? This is where transformation becomes inevitable. Not through motivation, but through containment. Your thoughts align, your emotions settle, your actions become precise. Energy no longer scatters, it accumulates. Here is the spiritual turning point. You do not need to compete when you are fully present. You do not need validation when your direction is clear. You do not need to compare when your path is yours alone. Carry this discipline gently into your day. Notice where your mind runs outward. Guide it back without anger, again and again. Because when focus returns, power follows. When power returns, peace follows. And when peace becomes stable, life stops testing you. It starts responding. 4. Wake up now or never. Life does not delay you without reason. It waits. It waits for awareness to arrive. If this video found you, ask yourself quietly, what part of your life still feels asleep, even though time keeps moving forward? Many believe destiny is something that happens later, after more effort, after more struggle, after one more attempt to outrun uncertainty. But Buddhist wisdom points to something simpler and more uncomfortable. Nothing truly begins until you are awake enough to see where you already stand. Awareness always comes before direction. Without it, action turns into exhaustion. You move, but nothing arrives. You chase, but only shadows respond. This is why life can feel delayed for years, even while days pass quickly. Sleep keeps you busy, not fulfilled. Think of dawn. You cannot pull it closer by force. Night does not end because you demand it to. Darkness fades only when light is allowed to appear. Awakening works the same way. It cannot be rushed, but it can be welcomed. Most people are not asleep because they lack intelligence. They are asleep because waking requires honesty, seeing patterns you helped create, admitting truths you postponed, letting go of stories that kept you comfortable but confined. Sit still for a moment. Do not escape your thoughts. Do not chase answers. Imagine darkness thinning, not fleeing. Feel how light arrives without effort the moment resistance softens. This is awareness, quiet, undramatic, precise. Here is the hidden reversal. Awakening does not add anything to your life. It removes illusion. And when illusion dissolves, direction becomes obvious. Only the awake can arrive. Ask yourself gently, what truth have you postponed seeing because it would require change? Where have you been waiting for permission instead of clarity? What would shift first if you woke fully today? Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. This is the test few recognize while it is happening. Life keeps presenting the same lesson until awareness completes it. Different faces, different places, same message. Wake up. Responsibility begins the moment awareness arrives. Not heavy responsibility, but grounded presence. You stop blaming time. You stop chasing outcomes blindly. You move with intention instead of impulse. Carry this into your day. Notice where you act on habit instead of awareness. Pause. Look again. Choose with clarity. Because destiny is not something you find later. It unfolds the moment you wake up enough to see it. And if this message reached you now, it is not pressure. It is timing. Quietly asking if you are ready to open your eyes. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I trust this timing." 5. Become unstoppable by becoming still. Stillness is misunderstood because it does not announce its power. It does not argue, prove, or defend. Yet if this video found you, ask yourself honestly, What has constant reaction ever truly protected in your life? Most people believe strength is loud. They react quickly, speak often, and move endlessly. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a quieter truth. Noise feeds disturbance, and disturbance keeps you controllable. Stillness, however, removes you from the battlefield entirely. Think of a mountain during a storm. Thunder shouts, wind attacks, rain lashes endlessly. Yet the peak does not respond, it does not resist, and it does not collapse. Storms pass, but the mountain remains unmoved. Your mind works the same way. When you react to every thought, emotion, or opinion, your energy scatters. You feel exhausted not because life is heavy, but because you never stop moving internally. This constant motion weakens you slowly. Here is the reversal few expect. Stillness is not passivity, it is precision. When you stop reacting, you begin seeing clearly. When clarity appears, power gathers naturally, without force or struggle. Sit with this image. Imagine yourself like a mountain. Thoughts pass below you like clouds, some dark, some loud, some fleeting. You do not chase them, you do not fight them, you remain. Ask yourself quietly, what agitates you unnecessarily? Which triggers steal your peace because you respond automatically? Notice how much energy you give away by reacting to things that cannot harm your center. When you do not react, something unexpected happens. Control shifts. Others reveal themselves. Situations lose their grip. Your silence becomes a boundary no chaos can cross. Nothing disturbs the mountain. This is how stillness creates invincibility, not by hardening you, but by making you unreachable. Life can shout, provoke, and demand, but it cannot move what does not engage blindly. Here is the test. Next time emotion rises, pause. Breathe once more than usual. Delay reaction by a few seconds. Feel how power returns the moment you choose stillness. This is not avoidance. This is mastery. You stop leaking strength into noise. You stop feeding disturbance with attention. You become grounded, unshakable, exact. Carry this discipline into your day. Respond slowly. Speak intentionally. Move from calm awareness, not impulse. Because when you become still, nothing can stop you. 6. You are born to thrive, not struggle. Struggle has been repeated so often that it now feels normal. You were taught that growth must hurt, that success requires constant pressure, that rest must be earned through exhaustion. If this video found you, pause and ask, why does struggle feel familiar, yet something inside you knows it is wrong? Buddhist wisdom points to a quieter truth. Ease is not weakness. Ease is alignment. When life feels heavy, it is often because you are pushing against your own nature instead of moving with it. You were not born to suffer endlessly. You were born to thrive with awareness. Look at how nature moves. A flower does not strain to bloom. It does not compare itself to others. It does not force the sun to rise faster. It simply responds to conditions, moment by moment, without resistance. The seed knows how to grow. Struggle begins when conditioning replaces wisdom. You were taught effort over alignment, control over trust, urgency over presence. So you push even when your body asks for stillness. You force decisions when clarity has not arrived. And slowly, life feels like a battle you never agreed to fight. Here is the reversal most people never consider. What drains you is not effort itself. It is misdirected effort. When you act without alignment, every step costs double the energy. When you move with awareness, effort feels light, almost invisible. Bring attention to your breath right now. Notice how it rises and falls without instruction. No forcing, no planning, no struggle. yet it sustains your entire life. This is how ease operates: quiet, reliable, precise. Ask yourself honestly, where are you forcing life? Which area feels tight, rushed, or constantly defended? And then ask something gentler. What feels naturally aligned, even if you've ignored it? Ease often whispers before struggle screams. Thriving does not mean avoiding challenges. It means meeting them without inner violence. It means choosing actions that feel grounded rather than frantic. When you stop fighting yourself, life stops feeling like an enemy. Here is the turning point. You do not need to deserve ease, you need to allow it. When effort aligns with awareness, momentum returns. Joy becomes steady instead of rare. Progress feels sustainable instead of draining. What would ease look like today? Not tomorrow, not after everything is fixed. Today. One decision made without pressure. One pause taken without guilt. One breath honored without control. Carry this understanding with you. Release the belief that suffering proves worth. Trust that alignment creates results. Remember this truth when life feels heavy. You were never meant to struggle endlessly. You were meant to grow like the seed, naturally finding its way toward the light. 7. Trust the quiet instinct, ignore the noise. Clarity has never been loud. It has never begged for attention or demanded agreement. If this video found you, pause and ask, why does truth arrive as a whisper while noise arrives as pressure? The mind is trained to listen to what shouts, opinions, urgency, fear dressed as advice. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that truth does not compete. It waits patiently beneath the noise, knowing it does not need volume to be real. Think of a compass during a storm. Wind howls, waves crash, directions are shouted from every side, yet the needle moves quietly, accurately, without panic. Inner guidance works the same way. It remains steady even when everything else is chaotic. Most people miss this voice not because it is absent, but because they are addicted to stimulation. They confuse intensity with importance. They chase certainty through noise, only to feel more lost. Clarity whispers because it requires presence, not reaction. Remember a time instinct guided you correctly, before logic interfered, before fear demanded proof. The answer arrived quickly, calmly, without explanation. That first knowing was clean. Everything added afterward was doubt. Here is the reversal few understand. The more you seek reassurance, the weaker instinct becomes. The more opinions you collect, the less you trust yourself. Noise multiplies when responsibility is avoided. Quiet guidance strengthens when you are willing to act without applause. Sit with yourself now. Listen beneath thought. Not to analysis, not to memory, not to expectation. Notice the first calm answer that appears. It does not argue. It does not rush. It simply feels settled. Ask yourself honestly, what noise must you reduce to hear clearly again? Which voices drain you instead of ground you? Which habits keep your mind crowded and your intuition distant? Clarity cannot arrive where attention is scattered. This is why solitude has always been sacred, not to escape life, but to hear it accurately. When the outer world quiets, the inner compass becomes impossible to ignore. You stop guessing, you start knowing. Here is the turning point. Trusting instinct does not mean everything becomes easy. It means decisions become clean, regret lessens, energy returns. You stop betraying yourself for approval. What quiet knowing have you ignored because it required courage? What truth have you postponed because it did not come with guarantees? The deepest voice speaks softly, but it is never wrong. Carry this discipline forward. Reduce noise intentionally. Delay reaction. Create space before choosing. And when the calm answer arrives, honor it without overthinking. Because storms pass, opinions change, fear grows tired. But inner guidance remains accurate in every season. If this message reached you now, it is not coincidence. It is a reminder to stop listening outward and finally trust the voice that has been guiding you all along. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I trust this timing." 8. Live without seeking permission. Approval is a subtle cage because it feels polite, reasonable, even loving. You learn early to wait, to adjust, to explain yourself until others feel comfortable. If this video found you, ask quietly, who are you still trying to satisfy before you allow yourself to live? Buddhist wisdom shows that desire weakens the moment it seeks permission, not because desire is wrong, but because borrowed belief costs power. When you wait for agreement, you hand your direction to uncertainty. Freedom asks no consent. It moves first and explains later, if at all. Notice how energy behaves in your life. When you act from truth, energy rises. When you hesitate for approval, energy drains. This is not coincidence. Authenticity liberates energy because it returns ownership of your life back to you. Think of a bird in flight. It does not negotiate with the sky. It does not justify its direction or apologize for taking space. It trusts that the sky exists for movement, not permission. Your life works the same way when you stop asking to be allowed. Many people silence themselves not out of fear of failure, but fear of disapproval. They soften their truth, they delay decisions, they shrink vision to avoid friction. Slowly, desire fades, not because it was wrong, but because it was starved. Here is the reversal few expect. Seeking permission feels safe, but it creates resentment. Living truthfully feels risky, but it creates peace. The cost of approval is paid daily in small betrayals of the self. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine acting without explanation. No defending, no justifying, no rehearsing reactions. Feel the relief that arrives when your nervous system realizes it no longer has to perform. Ask yourself honestly, what truth have you silenced to keep the peace? Whose comfort have you prioritized over your own alignment? And what would change if you stopped waiting to be understood before you moved? Living without permission does not mean disrespect. It means clarity. You stop demanding agreement. You stop convincing. You simply live in a way that matches your values. Those meant to walk with you adjust. Those who cannot fall away naturally. This is how power stabilizes. You conserve energy by no longer splitting yourself. Decisions become clean. Desire becomes steady. Regret loses its grip. Here is the quiet test. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause. Ask, am I sharing or am I seeking approval? Choose silence if truth already knows the answer. Carry this understanding forward. You do not need permission to grow. You do not need approval to change direction. You do not need validation to live honestly. Freedom begins the moment you stop asking to be allowed. And if this message reached you now, it is not rebellion. It is readiness. 9. Never regret, integrate. Regret survives by replay. The mind returns again and again to what cannot be changed, mistaking punishment for wisdom. If this video found you, pause and ask, why does regret repeat pain instead of ending it? Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering continues only where resistance remains. When you fight the past, you keep it alive. When you reject what happened, the wound stays open. Nothing was wasted. Every moment carried instruction, even the ones that hurt. Think of fire shaping clay. The heat is intense, unforgiving. Yet, it does not destroy the clay. It hardens it, strengthens it, prepares it for use. Pain works the same way when it is integrated rather than denied. Most people confuse regret with responsibility. They believe holding on to pain proves growth. But replaying the past does not create wisdom. Extraction does. You are not meant to relive old chapters. You are meant to read them clearly and close the book. Return gently to a memory that still carries weight. Do not judge it. Do not justify it. Observe it like a teacher, not a prisoner. Ask only one question. What did this moment train me to become? Here is the reversal few consider. Regret feels honest, but it is avoidance. It avoids acceptance. It avoids forgiveness. It avoids the responsibility of moving forward with clarity. Integration, however, completes the lesson and releases the pain. Ask yourself honestly, what lesson is still unopened? Which experience keeps repeating emotionally because its wisdom was never claimed? Pain does not repeat to punish you. It repeats to be understood. Notice how strength formed quietly through difficulty. Boundaries sharpened, awareness deepened, compassion matured. You are not who you were before the pain, and that is evidence of refinement, not damage. This is where acceptance begins its work. Not approval of the past, but peace with it. When acceptance arrives, resistance ends. And when resistance ends, regret has nothing left to feed on. Living without regret does not mean erasing memory. It means carrying only the wisdom forward. The rest dissolves naturally when it is no longer needed. Fire leaves behind something stronger than before. Ask yourself quietly, what ends when acceptance begins? Which inner war can finally stop today? You do not need to punish yourself to honor growth. You only need to integrate what life already taught you. Carry this truth with you. Nothing you lived through was wasted. Nothing you endured was meaningless. When you stop resisting the past, it stops resisting you. And when integration is complete, peace becomes permanent. Not because life was perfect, but because you learned how to let it be. 10. Enjoy every movement. Rushing is a silent confession that the present is not enough. You move through moments as if they are obstacles, believing arrival lives somewhere else. If this video found you, pause and ask, where are you rushing past your own life without ever touching it? Buddhist wisdom reveals a gentle paradox. Joy is not a reward at the end of the path. Joy is the signal that you are walking correctly. Life responds to presence, not urgency. When you hurry, you leave yourself behind. Think of music. It does not exist only in the notes. Its beauty lives in the space between them. If you rush the melody, it collapses into noise. Your life works the same way. Meaning appears only when you allow the pauses. Many believe enjoyment slows progress. They fear that if they stop striving, momentum will vanish. But notice how exhausted striving feels. Urgency tightens the body. Presence relaxes it. And relaxed movement travels farther than forced effort ever could. Here is the reversal most never consider. Enjoyment is not distraction. It is alignment. When you enjoy a step, you commit fully to it. And full commitment accelerates arrival more than impatience ever will. Bring your attention to this moment, not to improve it, not to escape it. Simply feel it. The weight of your body, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet fact that right now is already complete. Ask yourself honestly, what is finished in this moment? even if your goals are not? Where are you rushing because you believe happiness waits ahead? What part of life have you skipped so often that it now feels invisible? Presence changes timing because it removes resistance. When you stop pushing against the moment, energy flows cleanly. You begin noticing opportunities you used to run past. Clarity appears without force. Effort becomes simple. This is why arrival happens while walking. Not at the end, but within the movement itself. Every step fully lived contains its own completion. When you enjoy the movement, the destination loses its grip on you. Notice how life responds differently when you slow down. Conversations deepen, decisions sharpen, anxiety loosens. You stop negotiating with the future and start participating in the present. Here is the quiet test. Today, do one thing without rushing. One meal, one walk, one breath. Do not improve it. Do not multitask it. Let it be enough. Enjoyment is not indulgence. It is attention without resistance. And attention is the doorway life recognizes. Carry this with you. When you stop chasing arrival, arrival finds you. When you stop rushing time, time opens. If this message reached you now, it is not coincidence. It is a reminder that life is already happening. And joy is how you know you are finally here. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I trust this timing." 11. What you seek is already moving. Seeking often feels noble, but it quietly keeps you restless. You reach forward as if what you need is distant, unaware that longing itself creates distance. If this video found you, ask gently, why does certainty arrive only when desire softens? Buddhist wisdom reminds us that alignment always comes before arrival. When the mind settles, life begins to move, not dramatically, not loudly, but accurately. What is meant moves toward you without announcement. Think of two rivers flowing through different landscapes. They do not rush. They do not search for one another. They simply follow their nature, and one day they meet. No effort, no urgency, only inevitability. Desire weakens when trust deepens. This confuses many. They think losing desire means losing ambition. But what actually fades is anxiety. Certainty replaces wanting because the mind no longer doubts direction. Notice how chasing feels in your body. Tight, leaning forward, always arriving late to the present moment. Now notice trust, grounded, open, unhurried. Trust does not pull, it allows. Here is the reversal most never consider. When you stop seeking, you become visible to what is seeking you. Alignment sharpens perception. You recognize opportunities instead of running past them. Life responds to readiness, not desperation. Sit quietly and imagine paths aligning ahead of you. Not forced, not planned, simply unfolding. Notice how calm this feels compared to chasing outcomes you cannot control. Ask yourself honestly, what feels inevitable now? Which direction no longer requires convincing? What desire has softened into quiet knowing instead of craving? Seeking drains energy because it assumes lack. Trust restores energy because it assumes movement. When you trust, action becomes precise. You stop scattering effort and start responding to what appears naturally. This does not mean passivity. It means right timing. You move when movement is clear. You wait when waiting is wise. Both become acts of intelligence, not fear. Notice how your body responds when you imagine not chasing. Breath deepens, shoulders drop. The future feels closer, not farther away. This is alignment speaking through sensation. What no longer needs chasing in your life? Which goal has begun to approach you the moment you stopped forcing it? What relationships, insights, or opportunities feel quietly on their way? Here is the test. Today, replace one act of seeking with trust. Do not push. Do not pull. Simply stay present and ready. Because what belongs to you does not require pursuit. What is meant moves toward you. And when trust replaces seeking, arrival feels less like surprise and more like recognition. Bonus: you passed the test. Some tests are never announced. They arrive disguised as repetition, delay, and quiet endurance. You are not told when they begin, and you are never informed when they end. If this video found you, pause and ask, what test have you been passing without realizing it? Life tests readiness, not strength. It watches how you respond when answers do not arrive on time. It observes whether bitterness forms or wisdom settles. The test ends when you stop asking why and start listening to what remains. Most people believe the test is about suffering itself. It is not. It is about how long you can carry difficulty without becoming hard. Endurance without bitterness is the signal life waits for. When resentment fades, readiness appears. Think of a door you have knocked on for a long time. You knock harder. You question the silence. You wonder if anyone is listening. Then one day, you stop knocking. And only then do you notice the door was already open. This is how readiness works. It is invisible while forming. It matures quietly through patience, humility, and restraint. Nothing dramatic announces it. No reward is handed over. Life simply begins responding differently. Notice what has softened inside you recently. What no longer triggers the same anger. What no longer demands explanation. This softening is not weakness. It is evidence that the lesson completed itself. Here is the reversal most never expect. The test was never about fixing life. It was about refining you. When inner resistance ends, outer resistance dissolves on its own. Nothing changes loudly. Everything changes precisely. Stand before the image of an open door you did not force. Feel the calm of arrival without struggle. This is not victory. This is alignment. And alignment requires no announcement. Ask yourself gently, what no longer angers you the way it once did? Which pain no longer defines you? What situation taught you patience instead of resentment? These are signs you missed while looking for visible success. Readiness feels different from ambition. It is quieter, grounded, unimpressed by urgency. You stop chasing closure and start walking forward naturally. This is why life suddenly feels lighter without explanation. The weight you carried was not circumstance, it was resistance. And resistance quietly left when its lesson was complete. Carry this understanding with you. You do not need to prove growth. You do not need validation for endurance. What matters already shaped you from within. You passed the test the moment you stopped fighting it, the moment you chose calm over bitterness, the moment you allowed patience to replace protest. If this message reached you now, it is not coincidence. It is confirmation that you are ready to step through the door, not because you forced it open, but because you finally became the person who no longer needed to knock. Quick summary of the principles. Wake up now or never. Awareness is the true beginning of change. Nothing shifts until you see clearly where you are. Delay ends the moment consciousness begins. Your real life begins where fear ends. Fear survives only when it is avoided. Acceptance removes its control without a fight. Freedom starts when fear is no longer obeyed. Focus only on yourself. Your energy weakens when attention is scattered. Self-focus restores clarity, discipline, and direction. Growth accelerates when comparison ends. Detach like you never got attached. Attachment signals inner insecurity, not love. Detachment creates trust in life's process. What is meant for you arrives without force. Become unstoppable by becoming still. Reactivity gives power away. Stillness returns authority to the self. Nothing can disturb what refuses to react. You are born to thrive, not struggle. Struggle is learned, not natural. Alignment feels calm, not exhausting. Life supports you when you stop resisting it. Trust the quiet instinct, ignore the noise. Truth does not shout for attention. Inner guidance appears when the mind is quiet. Clarity improves as external noise fades. Live without seeking permission. Approval seeking delays authentic living. Self-trust restores lost momentum. Freedom begins when explanation ends. Never regret. Integrate. Regret traps you in repetition. Acceptance turns experience into wisdom. Nothing is lost when lessons are learned. Enjoy every movement. Rushing signals disbelief in timing. Presence confirms readiness. Life unfolds faster when you stop hurrying it. What you seek is already moving. Desire fades when trust appears. Alignment replaces effort. Arrival begins the moment certainty settles. You passed the test. Readiness is proven through patience, not results. Growth happens quietly before outcomes appear. You are prepared because you endured without bitterness. Nothing in your life is delayed. Nothing is accidental. Zen teaches that when the mind stops grasping, reality responds naturally. You did not force clarity, you became available to it. And availability is the highest form of power. Inspiring. Quote, "Let go or be dragged." This is not a warning, it is an invitation. When you release urgency, fear, and the need to control outcomes, life begins to cooperate. Walk calmly. What is meant for you is already adjusting itself to your presence. If this wisdom resonated with you, like and share this video, share your reflections in the comment box, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful, grounded life.